end. Ulster seem to be much happier when they're playing that way in the second half. And it's going to be the man of the match last weekend against Stormers, the wonderfully named Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, the 23-year-old of 8 South African caps to his credit. And that's a big high kick, hanging just in a wee bit of a breeze, and also managed to take that in, which they sometimes don't always do. John Cooney gets it away. Tom O'Toole playing his 119th game. Ulster managed to set it up just outside her, but midway between their 22 and 10 metre line. Cooney looking to the narrow side. Andy Warwick, the last man in, just forming the back end of that caterpillar, as it's called. The referee, incidentally, is Andrea Piardi from Italy. A big night for him. This is his 50th game, and he's the first Italian official to have refereed at both Six Nations and Ulster Rugby Championship level, or not Ulster Rugby, United Rugby Championship, the Southern Hemisphere version of the Six Nations. Looked like that might just have been knocked on a little bit, and Ulster trying to push the ball toward the far touchline. Well kept in by the Stormers. This is Ruben van Heerden.
Use it.
Tallest man in the park at nearly 6'8". Divanega played nearly 100 times for Benetton. Michael Lowry takes it and takes a Stormer at the same time. Referee has the whistle dangerously close to his mouth, and the Stormers have come away with it, and that's good ground by the visitors, and they're still going forward. There's a huge hole there. Oh, this is going to be a devastating start. What a score it's going to be for F on Roos. Out of nothing whatsoever, a huge hole appeared in the Ulster midfield, and there's no better man to take advantage of it, and that is not what Ulster wanted.
No, certainly not, Jim. Turnover ball from the Stormers. Moved quickly by Duvenaka, and Roos shows his pace in midfield. Huge gap appears, pins the ears back on the diagonal, outstrips the outstretching arm of Robert Baloucoune, and Michael Lowry could do nothing about that. And that's a devastating start for Ulster, really.
Well, you wonder what was going on in the middle of the park. He just ran between, I think, McCloskey and maybe Andy Warwick.
It all started, Jim, with the kick from Duvenaka. It was well read. Ben Loader in the right wing just held off. Let Michael Lowry catch the ball, regather. As soon as he hit the turf, down he went. The counter ruck comes in, the ball is stolen, and then two passes move it wide. We all know what Roos can do in the loose, and he showed it.
Well, no mistake with the conversion from Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, and we haven't even played 3 minutes, and it's Ulster 0 and the Stormers 7. Great start by the visitors.
Yeah, just a mismatch in midfield. Alan O'Connor and Stuart McCloskey, and space appears, and Roos takes it.
Big long restart kick taken in by Dan du Plessis.
Use it!
Changed his place from last week, partnered by Suleiman Hartzenberg, former South African under-20 international. That's in field. Michael Lowry takes it well. Good chase by the Stormers. Ulster need to win this and get back to scoring ways. Cooney away to Rob Herring, Ulster's most capped player. Cooney again. Nicely done. Here comes Stockdale. That's a good break by Stockdale, and unfortunately he spilled it. This could go anywhere, and it has gone anywhere. And again the Stormers snap it up, and that's a clever kick, putting Ulster under a bit of pressure. Nick Timoney goes back, but he leaves it to Ben Carson. Carson slips and then is caught. Dangerous position to be in. Deputising for James Hume, who cried off late last night and this morning with a little bit of illness.
No, wait now.
Andrew Warwick, who's missed the last 5 games, set it up for Ulster, but they're outside their own 22. Murphy. And that's a good clearance kick by Jack Murphy.
It is, Jim, and Ulster breathe a sigh of relief again. Stormers playing into quite a stiff breeze, and I think you can see that the way the ball's reacting whenever it's been kicked over the top. But it's the hit on Stockdale by Dweba, and then Ngomezulu, as you say, kicks through, retrieves the bouncing ball. And it's all Stormers at the minute, really. Ulster all at sea in this opening 5 minutes, and after the start that they had at Rodney Parade against the Dragons, Jim, last week, definitely not what they either wanted or expected this week.
Andy Vermaak has a little word with Joseph Dweba. The whistle of Andre-Hugo breaking through the Belfast BT6 air. Just the 5 forwards in the Stormers lineup. Dweba.
Fair contest for the ball.
Well taken at the back by Marcel Tinosen.
Ball at the front. Away,
Roos once again. Tinosen. Also trying to hold him up, and he's done well to release it.
Good. Well
Dweba changes direction. Back to his outside half. Long range drop at goal. That looks pretty decent, and that's an absolute belting strike by Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. And he's landed a drop goal to add to the conversion, and all of a sudden the Stormers are 10-0 up.
That's as sweet as they come, Jim. Right out of the screws from Mngomezulu. And the intent is there from the Stormers, Jim. It's get in the Ulster half, get points and build a score. They're definitely here for the win.
Backwards.
Mngomezulu again.
Stop,
a huge talent. He's such a big man for an outside half. Mike Lowry gets it away. Now here comes another big man. Here comes Jacob Stockdale. Runs into a couple of blue and white shirts, mind you. Ulster pushed back almost to halfway. Rob Herring. Good little offload. Cooney again. Murphy. He's put plenty on that. That's coming down just outside the 22. That's gone all over the place. But well gathered in by Leyland Zas, who's seriously quick. Well taken by Stockdale. It's great to see him involved so many times thus far. Stormers very nearly going over that. Herring whips it away to Dave McCann. Good sidestep by the number 8, and that's gone loose. Oh dear, this is turning out to be a catastrophic start for Ulster, and I don't think he's going to be caught, and McCloskey can't get there, and it's another try for the Stormers. And it's that man Ben Loader, who's off to Gloucester next week, or next year I should say. And that's a second try, and 5 more points. And Ulster find themselves 15 down at the moment.
Yeah, the tip pass from Herring. The step from McCann initially is good, Jim, but the accuracy in the pass, it's high risk. It doesn't go to hand. Murphy just overruns it slightly. It's Loader who anticipates, picks up the ball, and from that sort of distance, he may have lost a yard or two since his London Irish days, but there's no way Ben Carson's reeling him in from there. And 15-0 to the Stormers, and not 10 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, born in Reading some 26 years ago, Ben Loader, former English under-18 and under-20 international, who played 75 times for London Irish. And once he got the side of the line from a long way out, he wasn't going to get caught. And Stuart McCloskey, well, was doing his very best, but he couldn't compete. And that is an extraordinary conversion from the wrong side of the field from Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. He can do no wrong. So he's
certainly not at the start of this. He looks a fine prospect, doesn't he? Ball in hand, his kicking game, reads the game well, and his goal kicking, Jim, both from the drop goal and off the tee. Second to none so far by Ulster. They've got it all to do, and a bit more.
17 down and just 8 minutes gone. And that's the kick to test Lowry, well taken. Stockdale is inside him. Lowry has a bit of a go himself and runs into Evan Roos, not a great prospect, and also tight head prop and skipper needling Fouché.
Use it.
Tom O'Toole helps to set it up. Murphy. Nobody really chasing that one. It's bounced rather awkwardly, but it's eventually gathered in by Damian Willemse, double World Cup winner, and forced to make a snap decision as to whether kick or run, and he decided to kick and has found his touch. Now Ulster need to score from here, Tony.
Huge, and again, just the wind playing havoc. Willemse initially in a good position, but just an extra little puff of wind at the end takes that out of his grasp. Good chasing in that left wing by Stockdale, puts him under pressure, and Ulster now, as you say, 6-7 metres off the line, Jim. They need to score, they need points quickly.
9.
Warwick gives the signal to Rob Herring, and Herring's into the back. Now can he score one of his trademark tries? He got over the line twice last week against the Dragons, and here he goes again. Runs into his opposite number, Dweba. Now it's Tom O'Toole, little sidestep from the tight head prop. That's good work by O'Toole, and he's presented the ball quite nicely. Matty Ray to Kieran Treadwell, back to Harlequins at the end of the season. Cooney to breathe. Rob Herring staying. Cooney again. Now it's McCloskey. Well set up by McCloskey yet again. McCann, nice sidestep by the big back row forward. Ulster getting ever closer, just an arm's length away. Little flat pass, here they go for the line. Cooney brings it infield again, and again it's Tom O'Toole.
Stay back, good.
Kept his place despite a great performance by Scott Wilson.
No hands.
Nick Timoney waits. Now he's capable of getting across that line, but he may decide to pass. No, he has a go himself.
Stay back, back.
Herring in there to help.
Stay back.
And Warwick, pause on the ball. Still can't quite get over. Ulster was in this position last week and indeed the week before. Now it's Cooney. Murphy whips it away. Here's Baloucoune on his return, and the big fella's in the corner. And having missed 21 games in a row because of injury, Rob Baloucoune has returned in spectacular style. And my goodness, how Ulster needed that try.
Absolutely. Good composure, Jim. A couple of resets by the forwards, the pick and go, and then eventually out the back. Lovely vision from Jack Murphy with the 20-yard spin pass off his wrong hand to boot as well. Baloucoune keeps his depth, keeps his width, the gather, the stretch, and then he goes. Great score.
Yeah, didn't take any chances. Dived from a long way out, and big, long, lean fella he is, got across that line. So it's a little bit healthier for Ulster, but they need to produce more of it, and they need to cut out the errors, and they need to stop giving the Stormers the ball.
The Stormers, Jim, living off half chances at the minute. We've seen what they can do. Pace to burn. We heard Richie Murphy before the game. They're a difficult side to defend against because they're so loose, but if you're loose against them as well, it's obviously playing into their hands.
John Cooney's conversion just a little bit on the wide side, but it's looking slightly healthier for Ulster, but not healthy enough, as I'm sure Richie Murphy would agree. Restart by the Stormers.
It's nicely worked though by Ulster, Jim. Cooney, young Murphy at 10 as well. He's just kept his depth, and that's a high quality pass, and Baloucoune does the rest.
Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu strikes the ball magnificently. That's a great one for somebody to chase, and it's well taken in by Ulster and by Ben Carson on the far side. Cooney will clear this himself. Conor Evans very nearly getting himself offside. What a great kick that is by Cooney. It's been fumbled again. Little chip into space. Now that could go anywhere. This is interesting. Somebody needs to make sure of that, and as Baloucoune does get it, despite the attentions of Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Cooney's kick charged down and gathered in by Roos, very nearly away, and they're still going. And that's gone out wide. It looks like try number 3 if they can get it back in field. That was a forward pass, and Ulster breathe a sigh of relief. And your point about Ulster's accuracy and the ability for the Stormers, Tony, to pounce on anything is well made.
Yeah, Ulster just been lulled into that game, Jim, where they feel they've got to play. It's got to be high pressure. Cooney, there's 4 men out there waiting to charge that down. It's brilliantly done by Roos, and then the support play is magnificent as well. You've got to give some credit to Zas for trying to offload the pass with support inside, and in essence it probably deserved to try, Jim. Just couldn't quite find the accuracy with the pass at the end. But if Ulster continue, Jim, to cough up ball, kick away good quality possession like that as well, listen, they're just playing into the Stormers' hands, and they're growing. They've already started with confidence, and it's growing by the second.
13.5 minutes gone. Ulster trailing by 12 points. First scrum of the evening.
Stability before the feet. Okay, let's go, guys, please, quick.
Ulster, believe it or not, slightly heavier by a matter of 12 pounds or so. Not often Ulster are heavier than their opposition forward pack. Especially a South African one. Big squeeze, my goodness, that's good technique by the Stormers. Ulster shunted backward. They need to make sure that they've got the ball, and they have just about.
Quiet, thank you.
Referee Andre-Hugo right on the spot. Ulster take it down that narrow side, hoping to set it up for Cooney to clear. That's been kept in field, yeah, gathered in by Damian Willemse. Nice little hop and a skip. Tries to get outside Dave McCann. He puts him to ground. Dweba, tight head prop for Neatling Fouché. Dweba switches it again. Mngomezulu into a wee bit of space, and Michael Lowry very wisely lets it run into touch for an Ulster line out.
Yeah, very well done by David McCann, Jim, at the back of that Ulster scrum. My goodness, the whole thing just got lifted and almost set back on his head. McCann gets it and does very well. The box kick then from Cooney doesn't go to touch, and Mngomezulu has so much time at 10. Just the way he just glided across from right to left, coming down the blind side, assessed the options, threaded the ball through end over end with the kick as well, and he looks a class player.
He's such a big man, as was Andre Pollard, from whom he's probably going to take over in the South African number 10 jersey.
Yeah, but we've seen such dexterity from him as well, Jim, both with ball in hand and the kicking game.
That wasn't the greatest throw in the world.
Straight, and we have a contest in here. Yeah, there is a contest in here. Not straight first.
And it's going to be a scrum to the Stormers, and it's in a very good position. Dave McCann didn't quite make it. The throw wasn't too bad, actually.
Okay, put the foot in front. Guys, I need to be quicker on the setup of the
pretty decent crowd here at Ravenhill. Nothing much to cheer about at the moment, Tony.
No, certainly not, Jim. That last, certainly Baloucoune gives him a glimmer of a way back into the game. But certainly the team in the pitch could do with a little bit of noise. It's extremely quiet. As are, Jim, the Ulster team. Shell-shocked, I think, is the word for it.
Crouch.
It's very quiet. Needs a couple of moments of inspiration.
Well, the Stormers scrum like the last one could be calamitous for Ulster. Oh, they've got a big squeeze on. Referee is having a good look at them. It's picked up by Ulster at the back, and Ulster penalised for whipping the ball round, or whipping the scrum round illegally. And what will they go for, Tony?
I'll take the scrum again. I'd be staggered if they don't, Jim. Maybe going to go to the corner. Well, points, maybe. No, corner. But already, Jim, in those first two scrums, they look as if they have a huge dominance at the set piece, don't they, as well? And with someone of Roos's ability to pick and drive off the back of it.
And the lighter scrum as well, so it's all about technique.
You're never really quite sure about those numbers, are you really? Certainly from a technical point of view, they have a huge front row. The front five, I'm saying, with the weight advantage, but technically they look superior.
Dweba throws. Good than Van Heerden takes. A little bit of crossing by the Stormers at the line out. Unfortunately for Ulster, who will get the chance to clear the lines. This fella Evan Roos is some player, isn't he?
He's been around a while now, knocking the door. A couple of big injuries.
Sorry, guys.
Again, look as if he was going to be the heir apparent to slide into that Springbok back row number 8, and just hasn't really delivered on the promise that he once showed. But standout performer for the Stormers week in, week out, and I'm sure with international selection coming up, Jim, the start of this new cycle for the World Cup in 4 years' time, he's got to be very much.
For sure,
South African
he's only 25.
Number 4.
That's what I mean. It seems like he's been around forever, and an imperious start to the game this evening.
Well, Baloucoune looking on. Rob Herring. Better by Ulster. McCann brings it down. Ulster get the head of steam up. Good drive by the boys in white, and they need it. And they've got another penalty from Italian referee Andre-Hugo. And this will give Jack Murphy a chance just to take Ulster down into Stormers territory where they want to be.
Where they need to be. But that's better from Ulster to line out, Jim. Cut the numbers, couple of decoys. McCann then takes the ball long. But the important bit is evade Stormers in the air, get the ball down and get across that advantage line and get on the front foot.
What a very good kick by Jack Murphy. Just the second time he and John Cooney have started again this season.
With me. Guys, that's
Cooney was certainly one of their big reasons for Ulster last week, and the Dragons, wasn't he? His second half performance coming off the bench helped to turn the game.
Yeah, one or two others helped as well. Just the 4 men in Ulster's line out. That's gone long, well taken in by the 200th CAPT wonder Stuart McCloskey. Here's Nick Timoney, who's played almost 170 times. McCloskey gets it away nicely to Baloucoune. Little wriggle up the near touchline. Kieran Treadwell goes to ground almost immediately and has set it up nicely for a scrum half.
Push him down. Lay on. No,
Murphy gets it away. Timoney up to the 10-metre line. Cooney. Murphy. Ben Carson. Quicker ball now by Cooney. Back inside to Tom O'Toole, who's dumped by Dweba. Cooney again. This is better stuff from Ulster. Nicely done. Carson, lovely pass. And here goes Timoney. Got it away now to McCloskey. Now, Kenny's put the foot down. He can put the foot down. He gets into the 22, and he's bundled into touch by the Stormers defence. Well, that's a bit more like it from Ulster. You don't see sequences like that enough from them.
It's much better shape. It looked a little bit stereotypical, didn't it, to start with the one-off runners, the ball inside, but once they managed to shorten that line, Lowry and Carson working well. McCloskey does no option really, Jim. Well covered inside. That's Evan Roos. He's everywhere this evening, coming across with the tackle. And unfortunately, McCloskey's not able to stay in field. But again, there's shape there, keeping the ball in live, playing the ball out at the tackle. It's good defence by the Stormers. Look how many of them there are there, Jim. There's at least 5 of the striped shirts. You know, they are.
Yeah, Willemse was in there as well.
Warming, aren't they?
Yeah. And there's Dave Ewers, the Zimbabwean-born man who had a season here.
Go 10, guys, go 10.
Nicely won. Dweba comes hurtling around the front of that line out. My goodness, around the back of the line, I should say. Duvenaga's kick hasn't made much in the way of distance. Who's underneath it? Knocked forward. No, play on, says the referee. He's still playing advantage, and Andy Warwick has tidied it up for Ulster. Dave McCann has to go to ground. Well done between Warwick and McCann. Cooney, Rob Herring, Murphy. Michael Lowry gets it to Baloucoune under a wee bit of pressure, and he got it away nicely. Here goes Ben Carson. Decides to go back into a blue blanket.
Advantage, never back.
Murphy. That's a belter, and the referee is not waiting for any advantage to come because he's given the penalty straight away to Ulster. Well, it's a long way out, but you've seen John Cooney kick these, but I have a feeling it might go to the corner, Tony. What do you think?
Well, certainly in the warm-up, Jim, Cooney was knocking these over for fun. Jack Murphy, though, who's taking the ball, he's going to try and thread that down the right-hand touchline, but the Stormers have been very, very close to being offside. The passages have played at Ulster where they've had the ball, and on this occasion, Andrea Picardi, he loses.
Well, both sides came away from visits to Wales with bonus points when Ulster were behind all the way until the last 6 or 7 minutes. The Stormers were never behind and got 2 converted tries at the end, which put a wee bit more gloss on that performance against the Scarlets. A contemplative Richie Murphy has watched his son put the ball into touch. Warwick has given instructions. McCann takes it once again. Herring gets in right at the back. Now they'll do well to make a huge amount of progress, but they're certainly turning forward. Ball back on the Ulster side. Rob Herring runs into Roos and a couple of others. Cooney gets it away to Dave McCann. Again, side step from McCann, whose form dipped a wee bit this season. There goes Ben Carson. Cooney has a go himself. Oh, and the referee's given a penalty against Ulster for, I think, maybe just clearing out. Or was Cooney offside? It looked like John Cooney was in for what would have been a 7-pointer.
Yeah, just opened up for him as well, and just a little bit of trickery play from Ulster, Jim. You see Carson with the chop tackle, comes round the corner. Just as you say, I think it's Treadwell that's penalised for the clear out over the top, going off his feet.
Well, in other circumstances that would have been allowed, but not from Andre-Hugo, so Ulster's will have to build it up again. I'm not sure that's fine touch. It finds Baloucoune now into Lowry. Lowry has a go himself, needs a bit of help, gets it from Cooney. Tom O'Toole. Ulster trying to spread the ball a little bit more than they normally do. Alan O'Connor, the skipper. Cooney with the direction switch. Andy Warwick, Alan O'Connor's best buddy. Cooney again, was that a knock on? Murphy, Nick Timoney across the halfway line.
Blue 9 offside.
Cooney again. was a Stormers got himself offside, and it's the number 9, Dweba, who played 6 seasons for Benetton.
So now, you need to speak with your team.
His man's offside as well, Jim. Who they're
really
champing to get off that line. Ball slightly sore from Ulster. They catch themselves then almost having to backtrack to get onside again, but referee's been good on that, and Ulster need that space to be able to create something out wide as well.
He had a word with the Stormers skipper, Neatling Fouché, the 32-year-old, and who asked could he have a little moment or two just to have a word with his side, just to tell them to cut down the mistakes and cut down the penalties. 24 minutes gone. Ulster find themselves 17-0 down after about 10 minutes. Now 17-5, and Murphy's found a good touch yet again. So there's a decent chance now for Ulster to do something. They've had a very good 5-metre line out and driving maul all season.
Yeah, it's a little bit further out than that, Jim. It's just inside the Stormers 22, so it'll take a momentous effort. McCann's been the main line out threat so far this evening. Herring with the throw.
Oh, well taken by Treadwell. One big arm behind him. Now Ulster shunting forward.
Okay, that's Roos.
Herring's in there at the back. The man born in Cape Town where the Stormers are from. Here goes Herring. He's made a good decent fist of this. Gets it to Baloucoune. Clever little jinky sidestep by big Rob Baloucoune. Cooney once again. Nick Timoney, solid man that he is. Back to Cooney. Ball above ground. Matty Ray took it forward. Cooney might think about changing direction, and he does just that. McCann still with it. Good defending by the Stormers. Here comes McCloskey. Crowd willing him forward. Cooney in there, gets it away quickly. Tom O'Toole stopped in his tracks, but he's presented it nicely.
Go listen.
Still there for Ulster. Again it's McCann. Again it's Cooney. Dummy by Cooney. Has a go himself from short range. They're right on the line, and it seemed to be just nudged forward by Ulster, and it's going to be a scrum to the Stormers. Another good passage of play by Ulster, who have they recovered from that 17-0 deficit?
I think so, Jim. I think they have put it to bed. That's nice play. Good line out work again. The maul effective. And Cooney just controlling things at the base. I think that's Rob Herring it was, Jim, with the tap and go. And there's
was that
Roos.
Not forward, or did it go backward? I'm not altogether sure.
The referee was in a good position, to be fair, but again, also just need to make sure whenever they're going for that line, ball security, Jim, has to be absolutely so key. Once you're down there, you need points of some shape, especially whenever you're 12 points behind. But shoots of promise from Ulster, Jim.
I don't know. Referee was closer than I am.
We go, guys. Happy? Yeah. Let's go.
It's been played at a considerable pace, and you know, apart from the occasions when the Stormers scored, Ulster have had the territorial advantage in the possession all the way from the kickoff.
You have to, but again, you just cannot afford to let your concentration go. Your accuracy has to be paramount this evening. I think Ulster have had that spelled out to them already with the 2 scores that the Stormers have put over, and narrowly missed the third as well. And Ulster playing quite loose, Jim. There's a lot of tip passes, there's offloads go on, which are great whenever they come off and do help to keep the speed of the game up and the ball alive, and you start to create space awareness and backs running up forwards. But again, there's a dangerous level with it as well if it's not in the right part of the pitch.
Ulster have had a torrid time in the couple of scrums so far. Stormers skipper Neatling Fouché cannot get himself in there. Andy Warwick's nestling nice and tightly up against Rob Herring, with whom he's played so many times. Andy Warwick with 206 Ulster caps, Herring with 248, Big Alan O'Connor the second with 207.
Set.
Not happy, Senor
Better binding, guys. We go again. Quick reset. Quicker, please. Let's go. That's a mark. Better binding on this side. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go.
Stormers not in any great rush to engage, it would seem. despite the urging of
better body, both of you, better body, don't crunk, stay high with you guys.
Timoney.
Crouch!
Dweba with the ball.
Bind! Set! Keep it up!
Penalty.
Side step.
Now decision time for Alan O'Connor. This is should be 3 points in the bag, shouldn't it? What do you think?
Yes. Number 3.
Cases have been Jim with the kick for the corner. It's more central this time. You'd fancy even a tap and go possibly. It doesn't look as if they want to kick the points. They're after tries and 5 points, so some sort of a nice little set piece move. Rob Herring at the spear of it.
Yeah. Tap by Herring, drive by Herring. Timoney gets the ball and gets a couple of Stormers at the same time. Ball coming back on the Ulster side, albeit a bit slowly. Here the home side go again. Good tight drive by the forward pack. Referee's in getting himself round to see what's going on. And again Ulster go, and that's them over. They're right across the line. And that's a good pick up and drive by Ulster.
Nicely done, wasn't it, Jim? Not sure who the try scorer was. Couldn't quite see in the melee of bodies, but it looked for all intents and purposes if they may get held up over the line, but they've managed to recycle. It comes back. Just see, not sure who that is with ball in hand, but certainly with a few help from his friends. There's,
I think it's Matty Reid, in there. I'm not altogether sure, I have to say.
Going relatively simple, straightforward from 2 points for Cooney, and that closed the Jim back to 5, and Ulster well back in this game. What, 10 minutes on the clock to half-time.
John Cooney adds the points. We maybe get another look at just exactly who got across that Stormers line. Tom O'Toole's in the middle of all that, but I don't think it was Tom who got the ball down.
The warning was for offside, not the general warning.
That view doesn't really make it any clearer either, does it? So,
no, it doesn't.
Will they wait for confirmation from a higher source than ours?
As we do for most things. John Cooney did get the conversion. Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu gets it away. And again, it's well taken in by Ulster's late replacement centre, Ben Carson, who's a big, strong fella and knows exactly what to do when he gets the ball in his paws, as does this man, John Cooney. And that hasn't quite found touch gathered in to another very quick man, Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Sets it up. There's something on in the middle of the field there that the crowd don't like. Van Heerden in the second row. Dweba. This is good stuff. Here's the danger man, Roos. Good tackle by the equally large Stuart McCloskey. Dweba latched onto by Ali Fermach. Feinberg-Mngomezulu puts it high up into the Belfast sky. Knocked back on the Ulster side. And the Stormers have retrieved it. And this is Suleiman Hartzenberg. Little chip kick through. Good covering by Michael Lowry. Gets away from 1. Not quite. Gets away from 2. Needs a wee bit of help there. Cooney there quickly, like a good top-class scrum half would be. Back to Murphy. Just relaxes and kicks it nicely. He does strike the ball well, Jack Murphy.
Yeah, he strikes it very nicely. But how well did Michael Lowry do, Jim? Loader initially on the far side with the gather on the rebound from the up and under. The recycle, they come wide. And again, they're not scared to thread the ball through in that grubber kick, are they, as well? Ulster's line comes up, the option's not on. Happy to boot the ball, turn Ulster, but Lowry in a great position, as a fullback should be, but fine feet as well to extricate himself from the tackle and let Ulster clear their lines.
Dweba finds his man and takes the return pass. Dweba passed on by Dan Dutsapli, the inside centre. That's nicely placed. Oh, that's just spilled forward. And Ulster lucky enough to get away with that. I watched in the warm-up, I watched the Stormers doing those little clever kicks through, like 3 or 4 in a line, and they put it through and they put it through, and they've been doing that. So it's a question of just putting into practice what you've done in the warm-up.
It's been part of their game all year. It's something that they use. Duvenac is very effective with that left foot, with that almost that sort of dink over the top as well. But it's the players running onto it from 4 or 5 yards behind at pace as well. They're not going from a standing start. It's a preordained move. And there's numbers of them there, so if one takes, there's a simple pass on if it's caught as well. And it's very effective. It's also very, very hard to stop and very hard to read as well.
Man with the beanie hat is the Stormers chief coach, the very affable John Dodson. Likewise, Nicolas Boucher, the skipper at the tight head prop, less affable on the field of play. Big scrum this now for Ulster. They managed to get a penalty the last time round. See if it stays up. No, it doesn't.
Okay, a couple of things here, guys. 9. If you present the ball, you need to put the ball in.
John Cooney told if he's going to present the ball, he has to put it in rather than dilly-dally.
He's waiting for the tap, Jim, and I think it's the pressure that's coming through. You know, Herring on the tap will look for that, but Boucher's putting an awful lot of pressure, trying to split Andrew Warwick and his hooker. And Herring's certainly not going to want the ball in if he feels that he's going to get buckled and pushed back on top of himself. There's a fine battle going on this side of the pitch for Mark.
Wait for the ball in.
Rob Herring, or against, sorry, Tom O'Toole. O'Toole lucky at that last scrum, almost hinging a little bit for Mark, slipped his bind, but big contest on that front row.
Just about 6 minutes remaining. Ulster from 17-0 down, or back to 17-12. That's a big scrum once again. Dave McCann picks up and does really well and avoids the first tackle of Duvenaga, and he set it up well. Here comes Cooney. There goes Nick Timoney. Couldn't quite get away, but he's offloaded it nicely, and Stockdale desperate to get his paws in the ball and make a little bit of ground, and he does that.
But blue or white?
Stormers threatening to go over the top, but the referee's happy enough with the way it's gone. Good counter-rucking by Ulster, they've done well. Murphy has to go into scrum half.
No, we play.
Ulster stopped on their 10-metre line. Cooney has a wee glance. Murphy, that's nicely done. Carson gets man and ball at the same time, but he's presented it well for Cooney. And again, it's Jack Murphy. What a good kick that is into acres of space. Now, where's that going to go? It could bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce, and it bounces and bounces and bounces, and that's a bit unfortunate. So we'll have to come all the way back for the scrum to the Stormers, and with a few minutes to go to the interval, they'll be desperate to get back some of this lead that they lost.
Certainly, Jim, that's better from Ulster in terms of wanting to play the ball for me in the right part of the pitch, especially with the wind and the conditions that they have as well. And Murphy's just unlucky the way that ball kicks and spins away from him. See the contest in there. I think that was Rob Herring with the touchdown, Jim.
I think it might have been Andrew Warwick, as my respected director is whispering in my shell like. So good for Andy Warwick. Doesn't score too many. I think that's only his third try for Ulster. He's won in Europe, and this is his second in the league. What a great player he's been down the years for Ulster. There's a time when they thought about offloading him, and I bet they're glad they didn't.
No, he has that ability to play on both sides of the scrum as well. Doesn't particularly like the tight head job whenever he's asked to do it, but again, happy to put his hand up and do a job for the team. There's a change, Jim, for the Stormers here. Duvenaga, the scrum half, has gone off.
I want to see these.
Paul Devet is going to come on. 29-year-old. He's made 8 starts this season. He's played nearly 90 times for the Stormers, so he's another pretty handy guy. Not a huge number of Springbok internationals on the Stormers side, but there's nobody there you would consider an inferior player.
Well, I think probably the main ones, Franz Malher, who played last week against the Scarlets with South African rotation policy, Jim. Yes, they have it as well as most other national sides. He misses out this evening and doesn't play, but whenever you can bring in someone the calibre and strength and quality of Neatling Fouché at tight head, doesn't make a huge amount of difference.
So the first job for Paul Devet is to pop the ball into the scrum. 5 minutes to the interval. 5 points between them. It had been 17, and it looked as if Ulster were in for a serious tanking at home. They've steadied the old ship.
Line.
And they're still very much in this game, but they don't want to concede anything before the interval, which is only 4.5 minutes away now. That's a good scrum by the Stormers. They've given Ulster a roasting, and they've got themselves a penalty, and that'll be into the corner, I'm pretty sure, unless they decide to take it quickly, which they don't. Eatling Fouché will ask his outside half, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, to find a touch as close to the Ulster line as possible.
It's another worrying
gone for the post. Well,
another worrying set piece, Jim, for Ulster, isn't it? There's a definite clear-cut advantage in there for the Stormers, specifically on their own ball as well. And once you get into the opposition 25-30 metre line with a weapon like that, if you've got a frontline goal kicker that can knock them over, it spells trouble.
But the last one was not the same. Maybe wrongly, but the last one was not.
He's got a conversion, and he's got a drop goal. And now he's about to try to kick a penalty. All he needs, if he gets this, is to get himself a try, and he's done plenty of those. 15 tries he's scored for the Stormers. Should be well within his compass. It's the right side of the field for around the corner right-footed kicker.
No.
And it falls over. The referee is going to allow him to set it up again. The shot clock will stop, and up he comes again. And he's hit that nicely, and he's just pushed it wide. So the little spillover put him off very slightly, and Ulster will breathe a certain sigh of relief for that one. Still 12-17 it stays.
Massive sigh of relief, Jim, and perhaps that might be the spur that some kickers need to maybe not take the full minute. By the time that was set up, he was down to 5 seconds, and that's where the pressure came from, and just snatched that a little bit.
So what is Jack Murphy going to do? He's going to put it pretty long. That's a big long kick down to his opposite number, Feinberg-Mngomezulu. He's got a good angle on that, and that has gone into touch. Was that a 50-22?
It is, Jim.
Yes, it is. My goodness me, what a good kick that was.
Great kick, just a little bit of check on it as well. So once it hit the ground, just a little bit of backspin, give Michael Lowry, who was in a good position, no chance to try and stop that from going into touch.
To put a rugby ball on a sixpence like that is a huge skill.
Makes it look so easy as well, though, doesn't it? We talk about players with time and how accomplished they look, and who has it in abundance.
Well, taken at the front of the line out by Conor Evans, and down the near touchline go the Stormers. Devet sets it up. Here's the man again, Conor Evans, and again it's Devet, the replacement scrum half. Stormers looking for what might be a real serious blow before the interval. If Roos is well taken by Ulster. Devet to the narrow side. As Ali Farmak takes it on, and again the Stormers coming forward and moving that ball with wonderful precision, but Ulster's defence is right up in their faces, and what a tackle and what a steal by Ben Carson. My word, that's so important. And back they get it to Jacob Stockdale, who decides to have a go himself and gets it to Michael Lowry, who steps it away, and here goes Baloucoune. He's going to kick and he's going to chase. Oh, he's been taken out, surely. The crowd think he's been taken out. John Cooney's very upset about something, and they're going to go back for the penalty, and that has to be a yellow card. That has to be a yellow card, if not indeed a penalty try. What do you think, Tony?
I think it's going to be a penalty try, because I think the Stormers were there in their numbers, but it's senseless from Mngomezulu. I don't understand what he was doing at all. There's plenty of cover in behind. Clever option by Baloucoune once he had the ball. And he's miles away from him. Like, it's so obvious what he's done there. He's just ran straight across from 3 or 4 yards out.
Well, he put the shoulder into him. The ball was well away, and he saw that Baloucoune had the legs of him, and just simply dumped him unceremoniously on the seat of his pants.
I think the fact as well, Jim, he must know that Baloucoune's played no rugby in a year. He's been out injured. It's his first game back, and you know, it's just absolutely.
Well, he has gone. It's taken under a priority, I think, in consultation with his TMO, his fellow Italian Stefano Rossini, to work all that out, and it's going to be a penalty where the ball landed from the kick, and it's now into the corner, and a chance for Ulster to take the lead by the interval, or certainly come back to level terms, Tony.
Well, certainly, Jim, after 6 or 7 minutes, this was not on the cards. But Ulster, as we've talked about, have steadied the ship, dominated possession as well, and as Mngomezulu's stupidity going to cost his team right at the end of the first half. McCann with the take.
And it goes. Here come Ulster getting Nick Timoney driving for the line. 2 metres away. Dave McCann has a go himself. Still there for Ulster. They're coming back. Treadwell gathers, moves it wide. Oh, wonderful tackle on the far side. Ulster still going, and they've got it. And they're over in the corner. And what a try that was by Ulster. And what a try it was by young Jack Murphy.
Yeah, Ulster did well, Jim. Good defence from the Stormers. There's an absolutely monstrous hit. Ulster player drilled on his backside, but manages to get the pass away. But again, McCann's been outstanding this evening. His set piece works brilliant. Timoney then with the tap and go round the corner. There's good composure. Stormers get a little bit narrow in defence. Stockdale wide. Cooney, I think it is, gets man and ball together. Recycles, and Murphy so alive, Jim. The pick up, the dancing feet, the stretch, the score, and Ulster back to level.
Well, the forwards set that up. Treadwell with the wide pass. Murphy, very alert, scooped it up and over in the corner. Wonderful, wonderful score by the youngster.
Great feat, wasn't it? Managed to pick that up, just stepped to his right-hand side. Well done by Cooney as well, Jim. That was a big hit, quite high at the same time, but to hold on to the ball, maybe didn't know what he was doing in terms of setting it on the ground. Just to hold on to that was impressive nonetheless.
Well, Sean Cooney has missed with a conversion, but after 10 minutes with Ulster struggling at 17-0 down, you might as well have packed up everything and gone home. I tell you something, Tony, I'm glad we're 17-0 down. Who would have thought they'd be good enough to come back to level this game up, and had it not been for a couple of slightly awry conversions by the normally reliable John Cooney, they would have been in the lead. But the man who got the third try to bring them back in contention, Jack Morgan, gets the second half underway, taken in inside their 22 by the Stormers.
Use it!
The sides as they were at the interval, the Stormers had made one change because of injury, with Dweba going off and his replacement Paul de Vet coming on the first set piece of this second half will go to Ulster, and it's not something that they'll particularly relish unless harsh words have been said at the interval and they can put something together. Big scrum this one, possibly the most important scrum of the game so far.
Certainly, Jim, at the start of the second half with a numerical advantage and the Stormers down the back as well. If Ulster can secure good primary set-piece ball at the scrum, an extra man in the backs could make all the difference.
It is an absolutely huge Stormers forward pack. Conor Evans and Ruben Van Heerden are big men. Likewise, Dave Ewers, Evan Roos and Marcel Tunison. Maybe slightly lighter, but they are enormous, and their technique is outstanding. This is a big scrum for Ulster. 17 apiece. All to play for. Ulster with 3 tries. Dave McCann picks up and has a go himself, says a dummy. Oh, dearie me. Well, that was a try-scoring opportunity there, because there wasn't much happening in terms of defence. Referee has played advantage to the Stormers, taken on by second row Conor Evans, who's been a busy boy all evening. Dave Ewers is into the back. De Vet gets it away. Remember, down to 14 men, because Feinberg-Mngomezulu is off the field. That has bounced into touch, and that'll be an Ulster line-out, which has been better than the Ulster scrum.
Again, Jim McCann did well, brilliantly well in the back of a retreating scrum. Just that space opened up as well. You wonder after he got through the first tackle, you could see him try to put the ball in his hands to make the pass, whether if he had just backed himself. Just getting a little bit of treatment. Look as if he caught just an errant shoulder on the goal line there at that last ruck from a Stormers player clearing that out. But the referee doesn't want to have a look at it upstairs by the looks of things, so on we go.
I think Dave McCann looks as if he's finally got a bang somewhere in the old snozzle, but he looks to be grand. 2.5 minutes gone, 17 apiece as it was at the end of Ulster. 3 tries, remember. They've got courtesy of Baloucoune, Warwick and Murphy.
Demo check.
I think we're going to have a look at this clear out, Jim, on the line eventually.
Andrea, we have a
just
illegal clean out by blue player.
Clearly in the face by a Stormers player coming over the top.
Okay. So
Andrea is saying we have an illegal clean out by a blue player on a white player.
Yeah.
So he's gone down to the Aquinas end to the big screen to have another good look at that. There's TMO is a fellow Italian, Stefano Rossini, as we mentioned, Owen Cross, incidentally, and Andrew Fogarty, both from the IRFU, are his assistants. And that was an illegal clean-out, I do believe, by Damian Willemse. McCann was in there, the face was exposed, and that looked like the right shoulder into the face of Dave McCann. Tony McCourty, your thoughts?
I'm not sure whether it's face,
That's
Jim.
rather nasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ish.
You know, I'm not sure. I think McCann sort of pays for it.
Was it into the face, or was it into the neck, or into the chest?
I think he's tried to
at the worst, it's a yellow card. At the best, maybe a penalty. What do you think?
I don't know.
Maybe he's not wrapping with the right arm.
It's a rugby incident that we play on. I'm not sure there's huge intent there from Willemse, but at the same time, it could be yellow.
Okay. Camera back to me, Stefano. So we have the decision. The clean out is actually not on the head, it's on the chest, but he's not wrapping with his arm. So it will be a penalty against Stormers on the 5-meter line.
Okay. So a penalty, which is what we expected, on the 5-meter line. And what do Ulster do from here? Do they do one of these little clever tap and goes? We're going to have to wait and see.
Herring ball in hand, Jim, so there's another trick play up his sleeve here.
Well, the boys in white gather together. Herring, leader of the orchestra, taps and goes by himself. They need to squeeze the ball back between the legs and give Alan O'Connor, maybe Treadwell, a chance. And here they go again. And have they got it over the line? They're certainly over the line, but have they got it down? It's still there for them. Matty leaves it. Cooney gets it away. Carson moves it wide. Here goes Lowry. Swings it away, and it's Jacob Stockdale gets in for the bonus point try for Ulster. And as great a start to the second half for Ulster as it was catastrophic for them at the start of the first.
Yeah, nicely constructed, Jim. Again, Herring with the tap and go. A couple of riposts from the Stormers, and then Ulster use that numerical advantage. Short ball to Carson. You've got Murphy round the corner. Michael Lowry uses his pace and sensibly realises he's going to get wheeled in. Good accurate pass to Stockdale, keeping his depth. And he dots it down in the corner, and Ulster back in front.
Ben Carson acting as a very clever pivot. Michael Lowry is a very clever conduit. And Jacob Stockdale is ever a very clever touchdown. So Ulster with 4 tries. John Cooney with his 4th conversion attempt. That looks a lot better. That's a very good kick by John Cooney. What a belter. And what a difference that has made now. Ulster now 7 points up. They're leading by 24 points to 7. And we've just played a handful of minutes in the second half.
Yeah, great start from Ulster, Jim. We talked about the man advantage, specifically in the backs, and Stockdale makes it carry points at the end. But that conversion from Cooney, extra 2 points. And in the game as tight as this, Jim, that could go a long way to shading this one way or the other.
Well, you've got to score points when your opponents are down to 14. Ulster have done just that. Ben Carson with the take.
No full play, both play, a really low play on.
A big hefty man in blue and white.
Take him
back.
He's
okay. I think he is. Cooney pops it to Tom O'Toole. Runs into Marcel Tunison, the 6'4" flanker. And Carson has got himself hurt. I thought he might have been.
View, both really low, no full play.
Well, that was a bit of a bad bang. Stuart Moore's on the bench for Ulster, who could come in and play centre with equal facility. But
it's going to be at least an HIA, Jim, isn't it?
I don't think we're going to see too much more of Luke Carson, which is a shame because he's played quite well.
Yeah, Ben Carson's done really well, hasn't he? As you say, sort of dropped in at the last minute with Hume dropping out, and he certainly hasn't looked out of place this evening. He's been busy with ball in hand and effective in defence as well. But
and he hasn't looked out of place all season, particularly when he was playing in the early days when there was injuries with Jude Postlethwaite as a centre partnership, which is a pretty useful one.
Otherwise, he can become a TMO or red. Happy? Thank you.
But he did drop down, and there was nothing untoward. He just drove into a couple of
stop the game. I decided live.
Defending South Africans. John Cooney having a word with everybody, vastly experienced. He will be missed.
He will be off to Brive in France next year, Jim. Career he's had at Ulster as well. Here's that incident with Carson. You can see the good kick-off receiving. Just goes in, leads with his head, and
as he runs into the Stormers skipper, Neatling Fouché, who's a bigger man by some considerable distance, and he dropped the shoulder, and that was the crowd don't like that tackle particularly much, and I'm wondering, is the referee going to have a look at it? And I think he is, you know.
Yeah, he is.
That could be construed as
so what we need to determine, Tiemo, check please.
Illegal.
What we need to determine is the action by number 3, Blue. If it's legal or not in the action, because right now what I'm seeing is the palm facing backwards.
Into Carson, and they brought the stretcher on, the mobile stretcher to take Luke Carson.
So it's just that tucked arm, Jim, isn't it? There's no problem with the height of Fouché, but it's the fact that right arm isn't trying to go round the back of Carson, tucks it in, and that's the bit that makes contact with the top of Carson's head, causing that compression.
Well, he's sitting up, which is great to see.
Which is high for me. And now we see the replay.
Dr. Michael Webb, the Ulster senior medical man, is there having a good look at him.
It's a riding.
Let's have another look at it. Carson bravely put the head down. He was half stopped by Conor Evans, but the skipper of the Stormers was the man who put in what the crowd think was an illegal shot on Ben Carson.
Make direct contact with the wide player. Now, because he's always
Ben Carson's up, Jim, and walking off the pitch unaided, which is great to see. Stuart were on to replace him in the centre. Partnership with McCloskey, who played together an awful lot, so they'll know each other's game well.
The last replays, because what we are seeing is an illegal action. What are you saying is a legal action? So please put that picture for us, because for now the team of 3 is seeing an illegal action.
It's an illegal action by the Stormers skipper,
and it's different from what
are you saying? Illegal action could mean a yellow card, and there's no sign of Feinberg-Mngomezulu coming back just for a second or two.
For me, it's illegal action by number 3. No mitigation, always illegal, red card.
I agree.
Okay, camera back to me. So what we have to have is at contact by number 3. The action is always illegal, so it will be a red card against number 3 Blue.
Oh, it's a straight red card, my word. Well, Neatling Fouché will not be happy with that. John Cooney gives him a wee conciliatory pat on the back, and off goes the Stormers skipper, and it's not going the way of the Stormers in terms of keeping people on the field, Tony.
Certainly not, Jim, down to 13 now as well, and Fouché looks, let's say, nonplussed, I think would be the word, Jim, on that decision. Mr. Piardi upstairs with Stefano Orsini, who's the TMO, and the Italians have decided that's a red card and his night's work is done, and John Dodson looks almost as shell-shocked as his captain.
Well, there are a couple of other changes. The Stormers have changed their hooker. Andre-Hugo Fenter is on, and back row forward Willie Engelbrecht is on. Ulster win the line out through Matty Ray. Away they go. Michael Lowry, leave it a zip. Here goes Baloucoune with oodles of zip, and a clever kick into a wide space. Where's that going? It's going into the hands of the Stormers, who Ulster don't want to allow to counter-attack.
Shift, come back.
Told the vet, Ulster told to get back. Marcel Tinoson takes it forward.
Release him, play on, re-release.
Little chip into a bit of space, and that's gone into touch, and that will give Ulster the line out. Now they don't want to be here, Tony, they want to be down the other end. They're leading by 24 points to 17. And the Stormers, having been down to 13, will now be back to 14, because the man who was yellow carded toward the end of the first half, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, is going to be coming back on.
The show, Jim, of what the Stormers can do. You know, if you're errant with your ball in terms of you kick it away, they run that back, set it up as a great piece of play by Tunison with the initial carry. He then gets back to his feet, releases the ball, and goes another 5 or 10 metres as well.
And they will carry on.
Taking play back into the Ulster half and drove Baloucoune down. I'm not sure whether that's a bit of cramp, Jim, or whether it's a bit of a hamstring issue, but Joseph Dweba leaving the field.
Yeah, one Springbok international being replaced by another one, Andre-Hugo Fenter, won one cap for South Africa. Rob Baloucoune, I think probably just suffering from a wee bit of cramp rather than anything else.
Water out, please. Water out.
Great to see him back playing, isn't it?
Water out.
He looks really sharp as well, and we were talking about this beforehand. And don't really know of any rugby that he's been able to play since over the last few weeks. Obviously not involved with the Dragons last week, although he's being in training, but remarkably sharp looking for a man with no rugby under his belt.
Kieran Treadwell won the ball. John Cooney got tackled and spilled it forward on Cooney, like you have to say. Well won by Treadwell. Jacob Stockdale comes in and gives his scrum half a helping hand.
And he's usually so decisive, Jim, with his decision making, and just on that occasion caught in two minds. The pass, I think, was the initial option on to Murphy, but just the space opened up in front of him. You could see him almost trying to reel that ball in after he let go of it to step and go through the hole.
Dave Ewers has been airlifted. Well, Baloucoune is actually leaving the field, and Zach Ward has come on.
Obviously taking no chances with Baloucoune, Jim. If that's a bit of cramp, he's done well for 47 minutes, and Ulster want to need him for the rest of the season, absolutely. And a ready-made replacement in Zach Ward.
And because the Stormers skipper, the tight head prop Neatling Fouché, has gone, and it's a scrum, they've had to bring on the tight head replacement, Sassy Sandy, with Dave Ewers leaving the field. Scrum collapses on the near side. Referee saying it was not too illegal, although I think Andy Warwick would protest that Sansi was taking the front row down illegally.
High on this side.
Still waiting for Feinberg-Mngomezulu to come back on again after his 10 minutes in the bin for one of the silliest of challenges on Rob Baloucoune, who was in full flight.
Du Plessis, Jim, inside centre's gone into the open side position on the side of the scrum as well, so the vet at scrum half and then four outside back standing within 10 yards of each other, so a very tight option coming up here from the Stormers, you would imagine.
Yeah, but their scrum still looks pretty formidable. The chap who's come on at tight head, Sassy Sandy, he's only 26, but he's almost 20 stones. He's only played a couple of times this season for the Stormers, so he's a relative newcomer to this level of rugby. And he's up against Andy Warwick, who seems to have been doing it forever.
Crouch!
So the Stormers still down to 13, about to be 14, but there'll be no way back for the skipper, Neatling Fouché. Red carded. Big scrum, big squeeze by Ulster. Referees penalise Ulster. And here comes that man, Ben Loader, again, coming in from the near side. Stormers will try to move this. Good covering tackle by Dave McCann. He's done really well trying to hold the ball up. Almost affected the turnover. DeVette gets it out wide. Here they come again. This is good stuff by the Stormers. DeVette pops it up to Fermac, the loose head prop, who's been there from the start. Good hands. Stormers looking to get a try and possibly a conversion to level the whole thing up. Referee is coming back, and is he going to give a penalty? He is going to give a penalty against Ulster.
Again, Jim, it's another scrum penalty against Ulster. Again, Stormers' dominance continues at set piece, doesn't it, as well? Now, option time here. Here's the bad boy, Mngomezulu back on. So they're back up to 14 men, and that's as many as they're going to have in the pitch for the rest of the game as Willemse pops that in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, Willemse has played so many times that at the outside half of the Stormers. Here come Ulster. I've made a few changes, and number 17 and 18 are coming on. 17 is Callum Reid, 18 is the try scorer from a week ago, the man who saved Ulster's bacon, is Scott Wilson. And off go the starting prop forwards. You'd never guess they were prop forwards, wouldn't you? Fairly solid citizens, Andy Warwick and Tom O'Toole. But it's a line out to the Stormers. Also very nearly pinched that. It's gone loose. The Stormers still have it. Fenter, the replacement hooker, comes in field. DeVette, the replacement scrum half, pops it up to Connor Evans, the big second row. He's been there from the start. Also need to be not drifting offside, and they haven't. Good defending on their own 22. Stormers packing that far side with lots of blue and white jerseys. And they go again as Roos, the scorer of the opening try. What a tackle that was by Kieran Treadwell knocked him right backward, and Ulster moving away from the danger area, but here come the Stormers yet again. And again, Connor goes in.
No!
Ball is there. Referee says no. Tunison is there. Ulster about to bring on another player. Mngomezulu has a pop at the goals, and he's put it right between the posts. What a strike by this fella. He makes it look so easy.
Yeah, Stormers just ran out of options, Jim.
Number 6,
pick and go. Good defence by Ulster, and then a sensible decision by the Stormers. They just take their points, you know, something that Chris and Robbie talked about at half-time, and building yourself in. Obviously they're behind, closes the gap to 4, and Ulster now with the kick-off.
Taken by the Stormers just outside their 22, so no direct kick into touch by the man who's going to pick the ball up. Pulled the vet. Lowry underneath it. Wonderful take by Lowry. Jumping above men about a foot taller than him. Cooney gets it away. Now can also do something with this. Stockdale sells the dummy. Still goes Stockdale. Good strength by Big Jacob. McCloskey in there to help. Just the same size. Rob Herring, the Cape Tonian himself. And Ulster are giving away too many silly penalties.
Yeah, Callum Reid, Jim, side entry at the ruck on the clear out. Herring got himself slightly isolated as he took that ball back inside, and a good compete by Venter wearing the 16 shirt for Stormers, and Callum Reid illegally takes him out of commission.
Brock Harris, who's, I dare say, not quite the 100 years old as some people think he is, but he's 40 years of age, played for so many years for the Dragons in Wales, and he's coming on to replace Ali Vermaak, the Lucette Prov, who's about to leave the field.
James McNabney's on as well, Jim, wearing the headgear in the back row. Just trying to work, I see Nick Timoney and David McCann there, so it's the end of Matthew Ray's evening.
Fenter with the throw. Knocked back by Ulster. Rob Herring takes it in and goes to ground and sets it up to make it safe. Callum Reid. Good little thrust forward made about half a precious metre. Cooney in the near side to Scott Wilson. Loves to run. Cooney again was the interfered with, no, says the referee. Murphy gets it away nicely to Nick Timoney. Ulster still inside their own half, but Cooney's got it again. Here comes Treadwell, who's had a good game. Drives forward. Cooney sells a nice dummy, still there. Pops it up well. Here come Ulster moving forward. The skipper Alan O'Connor to halfway. Cooney again. Well taken by McCloskey. Good thrust by the big lad. Across that halfway line, Ulster trying to get into the Stormers territory. This is nicely done, and away they go. Here goes Stockdale. He's got a man with him. That looked forward, but still going in. It's going to be a try for Zach Ward. Wonderful score. They may have to check that, but for my money, Zach Ward has got Ulster's 5th try of the evening.
Yeah, beautiful work, Jim, from Ulster. They look sharp with the ball in hand, and once they've managed to shorten that outside defence, great line from Stockdale, wasn't it, as well? He has the awareness, straightens his line, draws the full-back, ball in 2 hands, and Ward does the rest. Brilliant pace from the youngster. And make sure of the score as well, and Ulster now stretching their lead.
Well, it's as good a try as Ulster scored all season, and Stockdale is back in sparkling form. Well, the try was perfect, the pass was not forward. And silly me for thinking that Jacob Stockdale would do something like that, and what a finish by Zach Ward.
Stockdale's ability though, Jim, the ball in 2 hands and to keep the full-back honest. The full-back had to stay on him, wasn't allowed to drift out and get near Ward. That gave him the space in the room to get in the corner. The conversion from Jack Murphy, and Ulster now well in front.
13 points now between them. Look at Stockdale, ball in 2 hands, and look at Ward. What a finish by the 7 specialist. Glad Andy will be very proud of that, but Jacob Stockdale made the initial burst, big and strong and skillful and wonderful final pass, and that's what you want to do. Get the ball wide to the men who are going to run. Here come the Stormers again though. little spill. Did it go forward? No, not so, says the referee. It was knocked backward by Zach Ward. He probably couldn't believe he'd only be on the field 2 minutes and he would score its first try for Ulster. Scott Wilson in a wee bit of bother, but as he managed to set it up, Nathan Doak is on. That's why John Cooney didn't take that conversion, and Nathan Doak might have been expected to. And Nathan Doak has got it away with his first kick of the game, and that's nicely done. Ulster out of jail a little bit.
Jim, the game is really Ulster's for the losing at this stage. They've battled so well after that incredible start by the Stormers. Bonus point try in the bag as well, man advantage. The onus now relies on the pack not to sit back, not to relax. There's still 25 minutes left, there's a long time. Doak and Jack Murphy have to control the game at half-back.
Stormers line out on the Ulster 10 line that didn't look altogether straight, but the referee's playing on. Mngomezulu puts it up into the BT 6 night, and who takes it but Jacob Stockdale. What a game he is having, the big lad. Doak gets away now to James McNabney.
Even, step back, step back. Good.
Doak desperate to get the ball back to his half-back partner, Jack Murphy. Skewed that one ever so slightly. Lowry, who's been magnificent at full-back, gets it back.
Release 15.
Doak, wee chance for Ulster here. McNabney goes forward. Doak into position quickly. This is good stuff by Ulster. Kieran Treadwell. Ulster would like to be further down the field, needless to say, as we come up to the end of the third quarter. What a start by the Stormers, 17-0 up, and now they find themselves well behind. Mngomezulu gets away, and he's knocked that forward. There's a bit of the maverick in him, isn't there?
There is a bit of the maverick in it. He's almost a step ahead of his brain's almost a step ahead of his body, isn't it?
Okay, time off.
Decisions made, what he's going to do. Stuart Moore does well. Just you can see the transfer, Jim. He does the hard bit, doesn't he? Catches the Gary Owen, manages to evade the on-rushing defender, and then just as he goes for selection option number 3, the ball slides out of his grip.
His ball.
Couple of replacements for the Stormers. Number 4, Conor Evans, has left the field. Number 7, Marcel Tunison is on. More about the replacements in just a second as we prepare for this scrum. Still just inside the third quarter, but not by very much. Ulster leading by 11 points, and they've scored 5 tries, remember, for the Stormers 2. But it's all about winning this game, and the bonus point would be a huge bonus for Ulster, because they would move clear of the Stormers, who have their last 4 games at home. How did that work out? Doak thinking about the narrow side. Ball's a wee bit on the slow side, but well taken by Stockdale, and the pass was forward. That could have been away quicker. It needed to be away a lot quicker, because the 2 men on the narrow side were in flight, so to speak.
Again, you can see the option from Nathan Doak in terms of what he was trying to do.
Okay, come here, guys.
The simpler option may have just been to play
That's the mark.
Jack Murphy, rather than to skip one past Jim Murphy, just to use the subtle hands and either ask Stockdale to come back in the switch inside and give a platform. But again, just, you're giving the ball away, Jim, inviting the Stormers. You know, they're struggling with the numerical advantage that Ulster have, but again, you don't want to give them any insight. You don't want to give them a step or a foothold back in the game whatsoever.
Teddy Engelbrecht is on wearing 20, wearing 19 is Gary Porter.
Crouch! Boy!
14-man Stormers.
Set. Early, white.
Taken quickly by them. Here comes Willemse.
Play on, play on.
Picked up by Roos, who's ambushed by 3 salivating Ulstermen, one of them David McCann. Roos has done well to make it available. Devet gets it away. Feinberg-Mngomezulu to Dan Duplessis. Good support play, good covering tackle by Callum Reid, Ulster's replacement prop. Here is the enormous tight head, Sazi Sandy.
Now you have the advantage for offside, 17.
Referee's going to give a penalty for offside.
No advantage. 17 white offside. 17 white offside.
That's another penalty.
Davy, you had such a great start. What went wrong? Yeah, I think discipline. We conceded a lot of penalties. That gave also a bit of momentum, and then obviously those 2 cards were also expensive.
What was your thoughts on the red card for your captain?
It's a tough one. Probably it's very low, then probably didn't wrap. I didn't hear the communication from the ref side, but yeah, we have to play 14 men now, so it's up to us.
Think there's a way back in it for you?
Yeah, I think we'll just stay in the fight a little bit. It's obviously a bit more difficult now with 14 men, but yeah, I think the boys must. If we can get some points now, I think we can get ourselves back into it.
Thank you.
5.
Davy Snyman there with all the bound some interesting thoughts, but he'll be very disappointed with the way things are going. We're into the final quarter. Ulster leading by 31 points to 20. The Stormers need a couple of converted tries to win this game. Venter with the ball. That has gone to the back. Well taken in. Roos is in the middle of all of that. He's had a quiet second half after a storming start and a storming first half. And look at the Stormers. There may be a man down, but they're shunting Ulster back toward the home line, and this is not what Ulster want.
Still moving.
Stormers
still moving. That's
the ball is still up in the air, so the Stormers have another bite at it. Referee said that's once. Now they're going to have to play it, and they do play it. Little dummy in the middle of the park. Good covering tackling by Ulster. By McCann was in the middle of all that. In fact, it was Stockdale. Stormers with a slight man advantage. Roos is put to ground. Ulster back inside their 22, defending like their lives depended on it. Good little dart by Paul DeVette, held up by Nick Timoney. Good job by Timoney, and away they go round that narrow side yet again. This is good work by the replacement Gary Porter. DeVette pops it up. Here they come again. This is good stuff by the Stormers. This is going to be a Stormers try right beside the post, and it's going to be a 7-pointer, and it's Willie Engelbrecht with the try.
Beautifully constructed, Jim. The pass from Mngomezulu. You've got to see it to believe it. He just takes it, holds the ball momentarily. Just a little ball out the back, 1 step, 2 step, flat as you like. Engelbrecht. It's a mismatch in midfield. Treadwell's holding his arms out. I think that was his man. He got caught narrow, he's ball watching. Engelbrecht then takes the outside line in between Treadwell and Doak and touches down, and just as the Stormers asked for it, they're back in the game.
Good conversion from Feinberg-Mngomezulu. This makes it very interesting indeed. 36-22 in Ulster's favour.
I think we've maybe got that wrong on the scoreboard, Jim. For my money, it's 31 to Ulster, 27 to the Stormers, so we'll maybe get a correction there, but Ulster now with only a 4-point lead.
Jack Murphy gets us underway once again, gathered in by the Stormers, and they're going to have a go and run this ball from everywhere, because they know that a converted try will give them the victory. Scoreboard is now right. It's now 31-27.
Take him back.
Michael Lowry, what a game the wee fella has had. You won't mind me calling him that. Callum Reid is former Schools Cup winning teammate. McNabney. Out of the match against the Scarves a few weeks ago. Callum Reid does well up the 10-metre line. Doak gets it away. Murphy. Stuart Moore. On for the unfortunate Ben Carson. Doak once again. Murphy. Here goes Stockdale. Has a go himself. Good support by McCloskey. Dave McCann.
Away blue. Ball is here.
Ball is here. And he does. Doak, Stuart Moore in the centre, Scott Wilson. Here go Ulster again. Done wide to Murphy. That's a clever little kick by Murphy, and Mngomezulu has to go all the way back, and that's bouncing awkwardly for him. And he's going to have a run from there, and he's very dangerous. Beats one man, beats two, gets it away, and still the Stormers come thundering forward. Gary Porter, the replacement, Paul DeVette. Mngomezulu kicks. Moore, normally a fullback, gathers in well. Now what is he going to do? He's got a bit of support here. Gets it away nicely here. Stockdale back in field. Evan Roos is in there, and the ball is filled into touch, and it's going to be a Stormers line out. Well, we've still 15 minutes to go, Tony. This is still anybody's game.
It should be Ulster's, Jim, but again, they're just ceding possession and ceding territory as well. The kick from Murphy looked brilliant. Just cannot take her eyes off this man in Mngomezulu. The show, the go, skins Ward, steps back inside, ball out the back door. He literally has the full array of tricks. Fantastic to watch.
Dave McCann, who got a bit of a bump not all that long ago, is taking on a little bit of water, seems to be fine.
So just have to watch, Jim. They don't get sucked into this loose game and wide game that the Stormers want to play. It's their forte, and even more so now with the man that they're down as well. They have to ping it wide. They're looking for space. They're looking for the pass that isn't on to go to hand, but Ulster on the other hand just need to tighten things up a little bit, play the numerical advantage, hold on to possession and eke out the space.
Andre-Hugo Fenter with the ball inside the Stormers half. Well taken down. Paul de Vet gets it away, and Mngomezulu right-footed. Lowry wonderfully positioned. Now what can he do with it? He can get away from his man, and Lowry's up to halfway. Needs a little bit of help. He's got help now from Timoney. Has to give it. Here comes Ulster once again, and it's going to be a try for Stuart Moore, and maybe that will see Ulster home. There's a fair old bit to go, but Stuart Moore has got Ulster's 6th try in the evening, and they haven't put in a performance like this for a long time.
Fantastic counter-attack. Michael Lowry take a bow. Once again, Jim, the ball over his head, goes back, ball in 2 hands, the dancing feet. Not quite sure what Leonard's ass was doing there, very upright, but the pass inside from Lowry to Timoney, the support play from Stuart Moore, who applies the finishing touch, but Michael Lowry, that try, that's got your name written all over it. Great support play from Ulster once they make the initial breach.
Well, they played some exuberant rugby this evening. They've made a few mistakes, particularly in the open 10 minutes when they looked as if they were going to be on the other end of a drubbing, but not so. Nathan Doak from close range has added the extras, and Ulster now leading by 38 points to 27. Alan O'Connor has left the field, and on has come Harry Sheridan, and also Tom Stewart is on for just his 2nd game of the season. Came off the bench once earlier on. It's nice to see him back as well. It's his 50th appearance. Back to Jack Murphy, who finds his touch. 13 minutes to go, Tony. 11 points in it. What do you think?
That's a huge score, Jim, for Ulster. You know, Stormers have done brilliantly to bring that back to 4 whenever they're a man down as well. And Ulster, everyone said we're on the rocks, but the counter-attack from Lowry, the finish from Stuart Moore just gives Ulster some breathing space, doesn't it? 2 scores, but more importantly, no point. Well, the Stormers have 4 tries, haven't they? But there'll be no losing bonus point at this stage either, which could be massively important.
A lot of youngsters have come off the Ulster bench. Mngomezulu has a go himself. Pulled down initially by the ebullient Nick Timoney. Back on the Stormers side. In goes Stewart, one of those gentlemen with red caps on, and the referee has given a penalty against Ulster. 3 points no good to the Stormers here. Mngomezulu is going to go for the far touchline, I do believe, toward the old War Memorial end. The Stormers player getting a little bit of treatment. That's not a bad strike at all by Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu.
Plenty of time, Jim. You know, there's 11.5 minutes here. The brains just of the Stormers get together. Brock Harris and Mngomezulu. Ruben van Heerden, he's been very impressive tonight in the Stormers' 2nd row. Imperious out of touch, and he's done an absolute amount of donkey work from the 2nd row as well.
Jury Matty is on for the Stormers, who remember been playing most of this 2nd half without their skipper, who got red carded, Neatling Fouché. Bit of a stoppage there for Willie Engelbrecht, but he seems to be fine, the big replacement back row forward, who can also play in the 2nd row as well. Stormers now in a wonderful position, 12 metres or so from the Ulster line. Here comes Venter with the throw. Can Ulster challenge?
Play on, no contest. Mole, down by blue.
They did go up and Stormers have brought it down, are trying to drive forward. The ball is tucked into the back of the Stormers, and they're sneaking around that narrow side by Venter, the hooker. Still there for the Stormers. That looked like a knock forward, but referee's happy enough. And Ulster counter-rucking as hard as they can. Brock Harris, the 40-year-old, takes it into Ulster's 22. DeVet pops it up. Engelbrecht yet again. Ulster come through. The ball, according to the referee, went backward. DeVet, but Ulster, the Stormers have conceded about 15 metres, but they're trying to get back up to the Ulster 22. 10 minutes and a wee bit remaining. DeVet to the open side of the field. Van Heerden, Mngomezulu moves it wide. Good tackling by Jacob Stockdale. What a great game the big man has had. DeVet, yes, again. Van Heerden up to and across the 22 of Ulster. All the pressure now coming from the boys in blue and white. A little bit of a reshuffle there. Ulster can't afford to miss any tackles.
Not rolling.
Not getting out of the way, an advantage being played, and a penalty against Ulster. They're starting to give them away as they run out of energy.
Yeah, the referee will start to lose patience and may go for the pocket at some stage, so Ulster have to be really careful. Mngomezulu shaping the kick for the right-hand touchline.
No, he's found a wonderful touch, and that's going to give the Stormers the perfect chance. There is still a chance that they could win this game, but they need to score a couple of tries. But they've given themselves every opportunity. They haven't given this one up, you know, despite Ulster scoring no fewer than 6 tries.
How many guys? Guys, clear access, clear access.
Here comes replacement, Andre-Hugo Venter, looking for somebody at the front. Engelbrecht takes it at the front, down they come with it. Now they're going to drive infield. Remember, they're only down to 7 forwards. Now they change around and they drive once again, and Ulster are doing well to hold them up. Or have they held them up? They have thus far. Ball still coming back. Tight forwards take it on. Referee couldn't be any closer or better position. And here goes Roos looking for a second. He started the whole evening off with the opening try in just the second minute. And that's been spilled forward, and Ulster will get themselves a scrummage.
Some great defence from Ulster. Jim Tom Stewart round the ankles of Evan Roos as he picked and came inside. And as you mentioned, the knock on, just a recycle. Just knocked it on into one of his players' legs in front, and Ulster breathed a sigh of relief. And I wonder whether there was maybe an Ulster finger involved in that, Jim. There was a little bit of a spin bit on the ball. It's Evan Roos trying to set it back, and I think the referee's going to have a look at that.
Last ruck, if there is an illegal play of the ball by the player on the ground by the Ulster team.
Good check.
So an Ulster player on the ground may have put the hand in and tried to disrupt the flow of the ball back on the Stormer side, and if that's the case, it'll be a yellow card. I'm pretty sure. I'm not quite sure who the culprit is.
Check the action by the Ulster player on the ground.
Just watch the spin in the ball, Jim. You see Roos picks and comes inside. Good tackle by Tom Stewart. Just watch the ball on the ground. There's an Ulster arm underneath Roos's head, but we'll look at the spin. Just see the way the hand flips the ball, and that's enough just to.
What I think is
was that deliberate?
Wait.
I can see the ball. I can see the ball there.
It's a tackle situation now.
There, ball is put back. Roos tried to put the ball back. Was an Ulster hand came.
So there's a hand comes through and pulls. The hand comes through and pulls Roos's hand away, which is on top of the ball.
Checking.
Which is illegal, and that's created a knock-on by Stormers.
My goodness, what a tangled web we weave.
Right.
Well, that's a
so he clearly played the hands on the ground by the Stormers player, and that creates the knock-on.
Now,
it's totally unfair. Okay. I want to see the number of that guy that makes this infringement.
So he wants to see the number of the Ulster player who committed the offence.
Good luck to him in there.
Exactly.
There are bodies everywhere.
And what does he do if he can't identify the player?
No.
He's having a word with Ulster.
You're on the ground. You cannot play the hands on the ball carrier. It's an illegal. Cynical play, yellow card.
Okay.
I think McNabney himself is gone. Cynical play, yellow card. who's...
I check it because he's
Harry Sheridan, Jim, who's going off.
Sheridan has gone off the yellow card there. Well, Harry Sheridan's just about expressed his thoughts there. We'll draw a line under that.
Timoney's obviously taken over the captaincy with Alan O'Connor off.
So what do they do now? It's still about 8 minutes remaining, and the Stormers could get themselves back into this game. They've gone, there was a knock forward, so they've gone for the scrummage. And I thought if there was
okay,
maybe they obviously didn't want to try the penalty. They've opted for the scrummage.
That's a bit advantage at set piece. So McNabney's gone into the second row. Stuart McCloskey's come in the number 8 position, which is somewhere I'm sure he's always fancied playing.
Oh, he's big enough and ugly enough to do just that. Exactly. Dave McCann on the narrow side. This could be a big scrum. DeVet pops it in. Ulster collapsed the front row. Referee says it's advantage. Roos picks it up and has another go himself. Referee has got the hand out still for the advantage to the Stormers. This game is far from over. Here come the blue and whites from Cape Town. Good tackle by Kieran Treadwell, still there for the Stormers, and again they put the heads down and batter forward. They're trying to change direction now. Lots of men have come round from the far side to the near side. DeVet moves it away, interception by Ulster, but they'd have to come back. They'd have to come back. Zach Ward was in there, and he thought, what a night this would be for me if I got a second try. Little smile on his face, but that'll be wiped off because Ulster have given away another penalty. Tom Stewart having a word with the referee about the scrummaging and the potential illegality of the Stormers scrum, which has been a topic of interest all evening. Nick Timoney has a word with Andrea Piardi. So it's another penalty. But the time is ticking away all the time, and they haven't scored now when they probably should have.
Guys, we go.
Hugo Venters down. He's taking a knee in the replacement Stormers hooker. He's asking the referee to stop the clock. The referee's hand in the air. Top penalty they're going for.
Well, it's replacement tight head prop. Little tap and go, and here they come again, and they haven't got across the line, and Roos is doing his very best. They've been held up by Ulster. Dogged and bloody-minded defence by the men in white. Down to 14 men, remember, so both sides with 14 men, and here come the Stormers again. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Andrea Piardi has to get round to the far side of this. Back in the Stormers side. Can they get across that Ulster line? It's very close yet again. And once again Ulster dig in, and once again the Stormers regroup. There's the ball. Here they come again. Yet again do they thrust for that Ulster line, and again Ulster managed to hold them up just about and no more. Piardi's there, and he's given the try, and it is another try, and it looks like Evan Roos has got a second of the evening. He did start the whole thing off. Has he finally finished the whole thing? But the gap is very narrow, and there's a conversion to come.
There was almost an air of inevitability, Jim, wasn't there? Once teams get in that position, it takes something pretty special to stop them. Whenever you're going as close to the ground as the Stormers are, there's no chance of anybody getting rolled on their back and held up over the line there. And Roos with his friends. Piardi in a brilliant position, score given. A relatively simple, straightforward conversion. It's a one-score game. It could be a 4-point game.
Mngomezulu pops it over in between the Ulster posts, and all of a sudden there's only an unconverted try between them. 3 points going to be no good to the Stormer side. They're trailing just, well, by 4 points, 38-24 in favour of Ulster, who are not in any great rush to get this game restarted. They're just dandering, as they say up. There's Harry Sheridan, who's in the pen and will not take any further part in this. A little bit unfortunately had a flicking hand in there, which caused the referee to send him off the field. Jack Murphy, who's had a very good game for Ulster, gets it away. Stormers will try and run this from inside their 22. Ulster have got to keep them confined.
Use it!
Paul DeVet now, does he reckon he has enough time to kick and put Ulster under pressure? And that's gone into touch, and that's going to give Ulster the line out, which, Tony, they must win.
Yeah, nicely done by the Stormers, Jim.
At the end of the line. Let's go, Ulster! No, let's go!
Ulster's line out just inside the Stormers' half.
Time off. Let's go. Don't waste time.
Andre-Hugo is telling Ulster's skipper Timoney that he wants them to hurry up. They're not in any great rush. Callum Reid ambles over to his pal Tom Stewart. Let's see where the ball is going to go. This is one they have to win. This is Stewart, and he's won that one well. Good work at the front by Ulster. Now they've about 3 minutes and a wee bit to try to keep the ball moving and keep the ball in their possession. And they've driven over the halfway line, and the referee's got his hand out for a penalty against the Stormers, and Ulster come thumping in. Here goes McCloskey. Knocked forward by Ward. How did he do that? He's got away from 2 or 3 Stormers players. Well away by Doak. Little chip kick through for Stockdale. Where's it going to go? Oh no! But they got to come back for the penalty. Well, that was a bit of a let-off, because Mngomezulu, I think, would have had the legs of everybody, Tony.
He would have had the legs, Jim, but I think Jack Murphy knew that was a free play. Piardi's played a long set of advantage the whole way during the course of this match. Great burst from Zach Ward, wasn't it? Just wobbled the ball, and then the ability to re-catch. He's so strong on contact, gets through. And then in the recycle, Murphy assessed the situation. Stockdale in space. Shot to nothing, and back it comes as Ulster search the right-hand touchline.
38-34, who would have thought it? And there's the unfortunate, or perhaps not, neatling Fouché, the Stormers skipper, who was red-carded for an illegal tackle, and Jack Murphy, who's had a very good game.
I'm impressed with his game management, Jim. His kicking out of hand's been good. Performance that belies his youth, really, and the testing situation with a lot at stake for Ulster tonight, and he's controlled things beautifully in the out half shirt.
Yeah, the youngest player on the field at 20 years of age. Referee not happy with the spacing at this line-out. He's having a word with Tom Stewart, the top judge on the far side. Andrew Fogarty's just keeping his hand out, so they'll have to do it again. And that the clock has ticked away now. We have about a minute and a half to go, and surely Ulster will not blow this one. Stewart throws, well taken. McCann plucked it out of the air. Stewart gets in behind him. A couple of seasons ago, Stewart scored at just about every tick of the clock. Doak gets it away. Taken on by Ulster and by Stuart McCloskey, and this is the occasion of his 200th, and he's got across the 22. Ulster on the front foot, and they've given away the penalty. Oh dear, and McCloskey throws the ball away. They didn't need to do that, taken quickly, and that's gone into touch, and there is a chance now. We're into the final minute of this game. 38-34, Tony McWhorter. What do you think?
Yeah, that wasn't needed by Ulster, Jim. The line out the maul just needed a little bit of a cool head and a cold heart in there, and Ulster panicked, gambled, and gave away the score. And now the Stormers, they'll be delighted with their 2 points, Jim. The 4 for the bonus point, and then the losing within 7. But they would dearly love to go home with full points from the Kingspan.
Well, a loss now for Ulster is not bare contemplating. The whole season depends on this. In it goes, long to the back. Who's going to win that? The answer is Tom Stewart. We have less than 10 seconds to go. Andre-Hugo is sending Nathan Doak, just get on and play it, and Doak kicks it for the far touchline, and that's the 80 minutes. And the referee blows his whistle, and somehow Ulster have come back from the dead, 17-0 down after just a handful of minutes, and they've won this one. And what an exciting game. A lot of mistakes made, a lot of opportunities wasted, but in the end Ulster deserved to win, and they've won it by 38 points to 34. Sum it up for me, Tony McCann.
Brilliant game of rugby, Jim. Had everything. The Stormers start